Constipation in paradise.
Dear Shandy. Welcome back to another Dear Shandy Bachelor in Paradise recap, listeners. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
How are you today?
Doing all right.
Before we get going with episode 3, because people have been asking me this about tickets to this opera, which opens Saturday, I do have a discount for you guys. So I will link it in the description. Basically, it's a friends and family discount where you can get select tickets for $50. Which is very good for opera tickets. Yeah.
It's a great deal for opera.
Yeah. But I do want to, this is just a word of warning that this is a Baroque opera. So wait, what are you saying?
I knew you'd start underselling it.
No, it's not that. Like, look, I'm proud of every opera I'm in. It's just that a Baroque opera is a certain flavor of opera. It's not like Verdi
Well,
where...
it's not sweeping Italian opera.
Yeah, this is not a typical opera that you probably imagine. It's not La Bohème or Carmen. Like a Baroque opera is a different beast. It's a totally different form of opera.
And there's still love.
Yeah.
And the music is beautiful.
The music's beautiful. All I'm saying, it's just a disclaimer in case it's anyone's first opera. This doesn't really represent most operas that you're going to see, but it is where most operas come from. I mean, Baroque opera was around first.
Yes. And I am going to give a disclaimer to your disclaimer that you should not listen to her. Just go see the opera.
I'm just saying, I know that Baroque opera is not for everyone. Okay. I just like to manage expectations. So shall we get going recapping episode 3 of Bachelor in Paradise season 9?
Why the hell not?
Isn't it insane that there have been 9 seasons of this?
It is.
I have a feeling that even the people who did the first season are like, wow, that went on longer than I expected. Okay. So during the previews advertising this so-called poo baby, Andy, you said, how can they make something like pooping somehow not funny?
They did it.
They did it.
They can do anything if they put their mind to it.
And we watched the intro again. I don't know if it was our mood or something, but we watched the intro and we were just in silence. And afterwards, Andy, you just went... I think that you don't like missed opportunities in terms of humor.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go poo, you got to go poo.
Okay, you mean like with the intro? I was talking about the intros. Were you still talking about the poo baby?
Oh, I thought we were still talking about poo.
I thought you meant like the intro video was also going poo.
Well, I mean, it is also, it's a stretch, but yeah.
For you, you're just like, oh, that could have been so much funnier if you did this. You are very good at curating humor, Andy.
No, that's your job.
Curating?
Yeah, you're the curator.
Oh, for this podcast, I suppose. You're the creator. I'm the curator.
Correct.
Yeah. But for fun fact, when I did Bachelor in Paradise Canada, you were there. Andy was the one who suggested what we ended up doing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. He was like, you have to make it funny. I don't know how funny it was, but I did something at least.
You did the thing. It was funny.
Okay, so we pick up with the men reflecting on no longer having power. And now we get a recap of all the couples, but the focus is definitely on Kat and Brayden and just how wonderful they are together.
Oh, so you know what? You just know when it's going to last.
And this show, I mean, they're so subtle. Yeah. He's all in on her. And of course, we get the sepia tone flashbacks of her saying she's a one-man kind of woman, blah, blah, blah.
Definitely going to happen.
So obviously, cue Tanner. Tanner is very striking. He looks very 60s.
Yeah, he's like a very good-looking 60s guy.
Yeah, his shirt, his hair, it felt very Mad Men to me.
Very Mad Men.
Yeah, like later season Mad Men.
Yeah, not early. He's not that cool.
And he's interested in Kat and Jess. So I wrote, he has a type. He likes him white.
He likes him like himself.
Tanner descends on the crowd now to the tune of rock music. I thought this was hilarious. I guess the fanfare around Tanner is just how hot he is that he deserves rock music. God
damn.
What?
They really, really emphasized a lot of hotness on this episode.
And he pulls Jess to talk first. And he says he likes the blue because she's wearing a blue swimsuit. And she says, I was bloated today, so I put on a one piece. And he says, what? And then she's forced to repeat herself. And of course, they use that sound clip. They like remove that and paste it somewhere else in the episode when she goes to chat with Tyler.
Yeah.
This was cruel. Why do that?
Yeah. And also, why wear a one piece when you're bloated? What's the point?
Yeah, you had a lot of questions about this. You're like, I don't understand.
Yeah, what goes on with that?
Well, that's because I always wear one pieces. So, sometimes you just don't want to be in a bikini. I pretty much never want to be in a bikini.
Oh, I see. A one piece covers your stomach. I had no idea. I had no idea.
Wait, what didn't you understand about that?
Okay, I'm going to sound really dumb here, but I wasn't really thinking this one through.
Uh-huh.
And what I thought was that the cut of a one piece kind of like comes off your boobs and creates like a little gap. So it kind of goes straight from boob down to crotch. So if there's any bloating, it kind of falls into that bubble.
Oh, so you're thinking like ruching. Because I think her swimsuit was sort of ruched in the waist area.
Yeah, I was just thinking there's more ways you can hide it with a one piece.
Well, of course, yeah.
Right, but I wasn't thinking of the way it's obvious that you're covering it.
Yeah, and also it's I think also a modesty thing. I don't think you have to be bloated to. I mean, I don't always feel bloated when I wear a one piece. I'm just not a bikini person.
Okay.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
It's just funny how on this show, in order to be wearing a one piece, apparently you must be bloated.
Yeah.
There's got to be something wrong with you.
Yeah, that's so funny. She had to say something about it.
Well, I think she was just being super self-deprecating, but man, was it lost on him.
Oh, yeah.
I like Jess so much.
Yeah, me too.
I like that she's just like, I was bloated. Like, it was just so relatable. And then he was like, huh?
Well, I thought what was funny about it was that she would think that he would notice or care.
Oh.
Like, that's the funny part. Like, any guy would be like, why is she wearing a one-piece bathing suit? What's going on here?
Okay. That's very interesting because I think some women might think that men notice.
No guy's ever going to be like, what's going on with this one piece? Like, I expected not a one piece. You notice how I avoided saying whatever the other thing is?
You've already forgotten.
Yeah, a bikini.
Good.
Nice.
I said this conversation feels very whatever.
Yeah.
Tanner, I keep thinking there's more to Tanner. And, you know, there really might be. I remember on Charity's season, I was like, Tanner, he just hasn't gotten his break. But this conversation with Jess left a little to be desired for me. And I think Jess brings it in conversations.
Yeah. I think Tanner brings exactly what he looks like he brings.
Which
is not bad.
No. I mean, look at him.
He's a good looking guy.
And so now Tanner chats with Kat and we see Brayden talking about, you know, how he's feeling about things with Aaron B. Good old AB. Look who's friends all of a sudden.
What do you know?
How come we weren't shown this
Of course I want. Why wouldn't we want to see that?
I know.
That would be the most interesting thing by far. Is like, how do they break the ice? How did they suddenly become friends?
I literally wrote, it shows such a lack of understanding of what we're interested in. I really feel this whole Thursday night affair highlights that. The fact that they start with Golden Bachelor and it's only 1 hour long. Everyone's just frothing at their mouths for more. And then you go straight into Paradise. They're grasping at straws on things to fill the minutes with.
Well, I just find it hilarious that they thought Golden Bachelor was the B-side.
Yes, I know. That's what I mean.
It's
like
hilarious.
It shows, and then they don't show a friendship blossoming that I think would be a feel-good moment, especially given their history on Charity's season. It just shows that they don't know what we want at all.
You know, it's interesting. Someone in the comments said something that I liked. I had said that Golden Bachelor was like drinking Tropicana for years and then suddenly having fresh squeezed.
Yeah.
And someone else said that watching Golden Bachelor after Bachelor in Paradise. Wait, sorry.
You can do this.
Watching Bachelor in Paradise after Golden Bachelor was like drinking orange juice after brushing your teeth.
Ooh. Oh, they improved upon your analogy.
They did.
That's very
They raised
good.
me and I folded.
I once read, this is a really random fact. I read that I think it was Pamela Anderson or someone who needed to look good in a swimsuit, not only a one piece, that
actually she wore mainly one pieces on that
true.
show. They all wore one pieces.
No.
They weren't all bloated.
No
one was complaining about that.
Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, apparently her diet trick, or maybe it was someone else, was to constantly brush her teeth because very few things taste good after you've brushed your teeth.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really
that hasn't aged well. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
How now that's like, oh, that's wrong. But there was a time when it was like, what's your diet secret?
It's a lot healthier than doing a bunch of blow.
And certainly healthier than it would seem Ozempic with all those side effects.
Ozempic. God, they that song. I don't even know what that song is anymore. It's now just Ozempic.
Okay, so Tanner chooses Kat for this date, and she's like, yes, so quickly that everyone judges her for it. And Brayden is pretty openly bummed.
Yeah.
So apparently she said yes too quickly. I feel like Look, I'm not Team Cat in this episode. Don't worry.
No.
But I also feel like, to me, it's almost more work than it's worth when the person's like, can you hold on a minute? Like, Brayden, can we go have a chat? And then they do a whole like rigmarole where they like get permission or run it past them. But I do think it is courtesy to talk to them after.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think she owed it. There was some real history. They had like 72 hours of history. That's like basically 5 years.
Yeah.
Bachelor in Paradise.
No, this was poor form for sure. But I just think that when people are criticizing how quickly she says yes, I'm like, okay.
She can say yes quickly, but she should have a chat.
Well, this is where things go awry. So she reemerges in a Kelly Green 2-piece set. 2 pieces, Andy.
2 pieces, but she's not bloated.
She walks towards Brayden and this big day bed where everyone is, but Brayden's there and she walks towards him and he's like, you look nice. And she just walks right past him.
What was going on? Was that a cut? That didn't seem like a cut. He had the reaction of someone who got walked by like that?
Yeah, and we rewatched it. I mean, we rewound it. If it was an edit, it was very well done. It was not a good look for her.
I think she walked right by. I think she didn't want to deal with it.
It was so cold.
The only benefit of the doubt I would give her is that she was trying to be a villain just for TV purposes. That's the best case scenario.
Yeah. So now we have a girl chat with Jess, Kylie, and others after they've left on their date. And the gist here is that not only was Tanner Jess's number one choice, but Kat is good friends with Jess and knew that Tanner was her number one choice. And Olivia is very judgmental of this in her ITM. And Olivia, I gotta say, earns her keep in that ITM room.
Oh yeah, she's working hard in the ITMs.
Yeah. Olivia doesn't really add much to the relationship side of things, but her commentary in the ITMs is exactly what producers want.
Of course.
Strong opinions and a lot of
facial expressions.
Yeah,
a lot
judgy moments.
Yeah, a lot of like...
Okay, so Tanner and Kat go on this date. And as they go horseback riding, we hear Kat say that Tanner's so hot, she can't even focus on what he's saying.
Okay.
And for me, frankly, I think that they look so similar that they could be brother and sister. And then this brought me onto a new thought that was how interesting when people are really attracted to people who look like them. For you to be attracted to people who really look like you, you've got to think that you look pretty good, right?
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like the ultimate in narcissism.
I mean, I'm not going to make that leap, but I don't know. I'm very self-critical, and I'm not saying that's the way one should be, but I've never really been into people who look like me.
I think that humans and animals and everything that's attracted to each other, good sentence, they're attracted to something that will complement their genes properly. So I think like if you really want to have good... vigor, hybrid vigor, you should be attracted to someone who looks nothing like you.
Yeah, I mean, you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, not Tanner and Kat. They're like, no, we've reached it. We're at the top of the food chain. I'm just going to find someone who looks like they could be my sibling. There's no conversation, honestly, on this date. Not that we're shown anyway. It's a lot of, as Andy, you said, just talking about what they're doing. It's like, wow, we're really in paradise. It's like, we're riding horses on the beach. Paradise.
Riding horses isn't that hard. No, just like a car. Okay, let's have a kiss now. Okay, let's do that.
Well, that's
we're drinking champagne.
Yeah, they sit, they have the bubbly and continue to talk about nothing. And then as she goes for a toast, he says, I don't want to cheers. I want to do this. And then he goes in for a kiss. I thought this was like, I'm not saying I think it's a good move, but I thought it was halfway decent considering some of the transitions into kisses on this show.
Look, the kiss was already like 7 seconds late. So whatever. When you're on the road and you got the not having Hello Tushy is the pits.
Oh, Andy. Oh, that one hits home because we are on the road. And let me tell you what I miss. I miss the Hello Tushy bidet on our toilet at home.
For the first time in many, many months, I feel chafing.
We have to use way more toilet paper and we have to talk about the cleanliness factor. Water. Go figure, water to clean. It's so insane to me that toilets are just sold the way they are. And it's not a given that a bidet would be on your toilet.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just added cost. And that's where Hello Tushy comes in, because Hello Tushy is very minimal added cost.
Yes. So Hello Tushy Bidet is a bidet you affix to your existing toilet. That's the magic. You don't need to replace your entire toilet with one that has a bidet in it. You can just affix it in as little as 8 minutes. It requires no electricity or additional plumbing. And then you turn your regular old toilet into a fancy one that sprays you.
Imagine if your butthole was a person and it was your partner and it was your friend. And imagine you said, I don't have 8 minutes or the few amount of dollars that it costs to get a Hello Tushy to make your life 100 times better.
With a bidet, you can use up to 80% less toilet paper.
Saving money on toilet paper, helping the planet, helping your butthole, and making people feel better about hanging out with you and shaking your hand and knowing that you didn't wipe your ass with your fingers.
Also, in case you're on the fence, the Hello Tushy Bidet has over 100,000 5-star reviews.
Ooh.
I think that's 1,000 territory.
Sorry. Having a rough time.
It comes with a 12-month warranty and a 30-day risk-free guarantee.
So stop wiping and start washing.
Go to hellotushy.com/Shandy and use promo code Shandy to get 10% off your first order.
Again, that's hellotushy.com/Shandy for 10% off.
What have you got over there, Andy?
I've got a little baggie. You want some?
What have you got in your baggie, Andy?
Well, I've got my travel baggie of Nutrafol because I don't want to bring a bottle in my luggage.
Yes.
But I need the Fol. I need it. I need it bad.
Yes. So Andy, in his little drug baggie over there, has his Nutrafol, which is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement. And you never miss a day when it comes to Nutrafol.
No. I actually have 4 baggies of this. I only brought one out.
For the ad.
Yeah. When I go through TSA, I sometimes think that they're like, what's going on here?
So Nutrafol is clinically shown to improve visible thickness and strength.
Strength is important.
Yes. I love how they add that. It's true. Strength. Yeah. What's the point of thickness without strength?
Well, that's the thing. You go to the gym, you see these guys with giant muscles. And you're like, are you strong or do you just look big?
Exactly. Nutrafol understands that you need a good root to your hair. And did you know that hair thinning affects a lot of people, not just men, by the way.
50% of women.
Yeah, 1 in 2 women experience hair thinning in their lifetime. And Nutrafol not only understands that, but they have different formulas depending on where you are in your life. So not only do they have a men's formula and a women's formula, but they even have a postpartum version and a menopause version. And Nutrafol targets healthy hair growth from within by targeting the 6 root causes of hair thinning.
Stress, hormones, environment,
yes,
lifestyle, nutrition,
yes,
and metabolism. Really got those.
So take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners, the Shandys, $10 off your first month subscription when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter promo code Shandy.
Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair.
Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code Shandy. Nutrafol.com, promo code Shandy. Okay, so now we have a quick conversation between Jess and Blake, because he says if he eats protein, it's birds. Isn't it funny that people don't consider chicken birds?
Well, yeah, they don't fly. That's why.
Is that what it is?
I think people think when they think of birds, they think of birds that fly. I kind of feel like this was like one of those, when you say, so like if you see the word green, but it's painted blue, it screws with your head.
Okay.
Like, what color is this? And you're like, you have to think for a second.
Yeah.
It's a trick. I think that's kind of what happened with Jess, to give her the benefit of the doubt. I think when he said bird, she thinks of things that fly. Mm-hmm. And a chicken and a turkey do not fly.
Oh, but isn't that
and
sad?
they are truly in a very bad place because they do not fly.
Yes.
If they could figure out how to fly, which I know is impossible,
they've been
because they're in
bred to not
farms,
fly.
they won't let them. Obviously, if any chicken could fly, they would get rid of that chicken immediately.
Yeah.
They can't fly, and that's not helping them out.
It made me a little sad to think that chicken is so people don't even associate it with being what
bird.
It is.
Isn't that
anymore,
sad?
to the point where it's just a meat.
They would think of a penguin more as a bird than a chicken.
Unbelievable. A penguin does not fly. Okay, anyway, we have beach life now. Aaron B telling Eliza he doesn't want to see her go on a date with anyone else. And Andy, you said she loves that.
Oh,
that's a good callback.
If you want to get in her good side.
Yeah, Aaron B took his notes from last season. He saw what Rodney did
played
wrong.
He played the anti-Rodney.
Yes. And Sean talks about how when he was a child, he was pure blonde. Rachel's like, me too. I was natural blonde. So you know what this beach is missing, said someone named Tyler Norris. He says, I'm thinking it's missing Tyler Norris. He talks in the third person like that.
So the beach is missing nothing.
This is a callback to last season. We made a lot of fun of Tyler last season, but he didn't have a bad showing in this episode, I thought.
No, he's once you start really, really low, you got a lot of room.
Everyone seems very excited about him, especially Rachel Recchia. And Aaron says something about his defined abs and how he's, quote, a hot commodity for sure. Apparently what it takes to be a hot commodity is to have abs.
This is a very, very superficial season of a very superficial show.
Yes.
And I'm okay with superficial shows, but I was taken aback by how exceedingly superficial this particular episode was.
Totally agree. I also find it a little, I don't know. Look, women deal with a lot of body image issues, so okay. But I just feel the way they talk about men's bodies on this franchise. Yeah. Like if I were a guy going on the show, I would have a lot of anxiety about that.
Seriously. Like, they can't say that about women ever.
No.
They never say like, oh, wow, she's got a real nice rack.
Can you imagine?
I mean,
it's not so different from what they're doing here. They're like, look at all his abs. Look at those muscles. Look at blah, blah, blah. Like it's just so objectifying. I'm like, damn, okay.
It feels very un-2023. Which in a way is refreshing, but also not in the ways that we want it to be.
I agree. Tyler and Rachel chat. This is actually pretty cute. You can tell that they have an established rapport. Yeah. He also chats with Jess, who I got the impression was not interested in him at all.
No, she wasn't, but she's being nice. Jess is very nice.
Super nice. This is where they reuse the I was bloated, so I put on a one-piece line. Notice we don't see it coming out of her mouth. I just don't know why they did this to her.
And also, it was supposed to be funny. You never reuse a funny thing. Why did they reuse a funny thing?
Yeah, she was having a moment of being self-deprecating, and it was used against her so ferociously.
And if you're gonna do that, she should have said it like 10 more times. Like every time someone talked to her, they should have had that soundbite.
Now, Tyler and Mercedes. Will jokes that at this point he's getting used to this feeling of a guy coming down and chatting with his girl. And they say that they were looking forward to meeting each other. So we immediately feel that there's a little bit of history here. Tyler addresses the group now and said that this person made it very easy. And he asks Mercedes on the date. I confess, I was really hoping he would ask Rachel.
Yeah, me too. I thought that was a little mean.
To Rachel?
Yeah, I felt it was a little mean. No one did that out of malice.
Yeah.
I just feel like Rachel is getting shafted is not the word I want to use, but it's not a good thing for Rachel, this show so far.
Oh, I agree. I feel like they're not showing her the same reverence that they show other former bachelorettes.
Yeah, I think just because maybe she's over it or she's just not the kind of personality that they want in Bachelor in Paradise, they've sort of relegated her to like B cast.
Yeah.
And she's kind of just once in a while you see her face and once in a blue moon you see an ITM, but she's not really part of the cast. They're like, we're not getting what we want out of you. And it's kind of sad because at the very least, let Tyler go on a date with her. I mean, I feel like that's the least that could have happened. But when she didn't get that, I felt pretty bad for her.
Yeah. I feel like what she has with Sean, it doesn't even make sense to me. Like I can't even imagine them kissing.
I don't think it's happening. I don't think there's anything going on there. I think that's a ruse.
Maybe I'm way off. I don't know. I just don't buy it.
I don't buy it either.
And I do kind of buy it with Tyler, and I liked their banter, and it just made me sad.
Yeah, me too.
Two ships in the night.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mercedes says yes and appears to just walk off. So she doesn't even seem to acknowledge Will here either. I find it hard to believe that she didn't. And so I wonder if either they are encouraged not to, like they're told that they have to immediately say yes and go off, or she did talk to Will here and it wasn't shown.
It's possible that production was like, you can't do that anymore. That's a new rule.
Well, because it gives them so much to work with. They get all these ITMs of people talking about, oh, poor Will. Mercedes didn't even talk to him.
I agree.
No one is giving Mercedes the hard time they're giving Kat for doing essentially the same thing.
This is true.
Just saying. And now we're on to Sam's bowels. Oh, Poor Sam.
This is ridiculous.
I would bet my money that she didn't expect this to be such a major talking point of the season. And I feel bad because it doesn't seem to suit her personality. It doesn't feel like she's basking in any attention she can get. Like, she seems quite mortified, actually.
Yeah.
And it just feels like adding insult to injury that they're like, haha, now look, poo baby, poo baby, poo baby.
I mean, there came a point where she seemed to be leaning into it a little bit. Like, do you think maybe she's like, you know what, I'm here. I might as well like really go for it. Go for whatever it is.
Okay, so we learned that she had taken laxatives and even a stool softener. So is stool softener more hardcore than a laxative?
I'm not sure I understand the difference between a laxative. I think there's, from what I understand, I mean, and I did experience, I learned some things.
Yes, everyone knows.
Had an episode. I did a lot of Googling. I saw some things. There are two types as far as I understand. There's one that delivers a lot more water to your colon.
Okay.
Or intestines, whatever. I don't know what's going on down there. And that obviously helps get things moving and softening. And then there's a stimulant, which gets things, I just picture like your whole colon vibrating or something. But it just gets things really, you know, those can be a little more violent. Like I actually had an episode where I took one of those when you were doing a gig in San Antonio. And I'm telling you, that whole hotel will never be the same.
Wait, you took a laxative or a stool softener?
No, I took a stimulant laxative, a hard one. And I had never done that before. And I was like, oh, what's the big deal? What's the worst thing that can happen other than just, it's worse than just.
Oh, well, poor Sam. We learned that she'd taken the stool softener and finally felt it kick in.
Yeah.
But it happened during the rose ceremony.
This is not, I can't, you know what? I can't even make believe this is funny. That's a tragedy.
It is, especially since when it was finally over and she had flexed every muscle in her body to not do it there. Yeah. She didn't have to go anymore afterwards.
Oh, God. I mean, and it is actually funny. but it's not funny.
Okay, so the doctor arrives now and says constipation is not uncommon in paradise, which is a great sentence.
Constipation in paradise. First of all, I believe what that doctor said. There's nothing about paradise that to me doesn't seem like it would cause constipation.
That sentence was not what I was expecting, and it was better. It was better than I expected.
It took a route. But travel, first of all, to probably another time zone.
Yes.
That right away is the biggest red flag. And then your diet. What the hell is going on with that? Yeah. You're having like an occasional taco mixed with tequila shots. Ugh. You're going to sleep at God knows what hours. You're probably napping during the day. You're going through stress.
You're sweating constantly.
You're sweating. You're just like, oh, it's a recipe for disaster. Like I guarantee you that I would be her on the show.
Yeah, I think no one's disagreeing with that.
Oh, okay. Good.
Okay, so he says 9 days is concerning and 10 days is drastic measures territory. And then here we learn about the poo baby thing. I don't think anyone needs me to recap that. So basically, he says in his ITM, this doctor's very comfortable in an ITM room, I have to say.
He's good.
He says the longest poo baby he's ever seen is 16 inches. And the countdown begins for sunrise the next day because she can't go and get that done and then come back. Once you go out of paradise, you're gone. You can never come back.
I mean, you'd think you could get a poo removed. Like that could pass.
Oh, I would think she'd be able to come back.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it has to be
I think it might be like you have to stay over the night. Like it might be intense.
But why is that something that precludes her from returning?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. Maybe once you're out in the real world, like you can't be trusted. You can tell people things.
And here, Andy, you noted that Sam's poop story lengthwise is basically a whole Golden Bachelor episode. There's something very wrong about that. Okay, so now it's the evening. Sean is giving Wells the down low on Brayden. We hear him say that he really likes Brayden now. I mean, does the I told you so even need to be said?
It's such a heavy I told you so that it's transcended. It's become something else, and I have to figure out what that is.
Can we just put it out there? Okay, so this has happened with Thomas now, and now with Brayden.
Yeah.
If there's another villain that you are like, he's not the villain, he's not the bad guy here, just watch.
Just stick with me.
Yeah. Like, no one needs to doubt us, especially not you. Like, you're not going to do that for just anyone.
No, I don't do it for fun. I'm happy to make fun of everybody as much as possible. Yeah. But he wasn't a villain.
No. And now Kat and Tanner return. And once Brayden realizes she's there, I loved how he did this. He perks up. He like dusts himself off. He looks nice, by the way. He's like put himself together. He goes and finds her and he's like, hey, like how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Do you want to go chat? I love that he didn't just pout in a corner and wait for her to come to him.
Oh, great.
He just put his best foot forward and just did what he could.
Nothing passive aggressive.
No.
Nothing childish.
No. It was just the perfect, mature way to handle that situation.
Yeah.
Which, we quickly learned that that's not how Kat deals with things. Okay, so Brayden and Kat talk. She says that her feelings for Tanner are different. She doesn't see, quote, my feelings growing anymore between you and I. Andy, you had an issue with this?
It's you and me.
Yeah.
You and me. Between you and me.
Yeah, if you take
and I went between a rock and a hard place.
Okay, he asks what changed, and she says she's just listening to her feelings. She didn't think about him at all, basically. And he says he's not going to beg someone to want him, and she says she still thinks he'd make a great partner for someone else, and then she stands and says, I need to go freshen up. And Andy, you said she's broken up with a lot of guys.
Oh, yeah, and used that same stupid line.
Which one?
That you'll make a great partner for someone else?
Yeah.
That's the worst. That's worse than it's me, it's not you. To me, that's the lowest one.
I think what got me about it is it felt canned. Like there was no meaning behind it. I didn't feel like she meant the words. I felt like she heard herself saying something that made her sound like a nice person for having said.
But it also has no meaning. It has no meaning at all.
Yeah.
Saying that, it's like saying you could be dating like an anteater.
Yeah.
And be like, you know what? You're going to find someone who you're a great partner for. Yeah, he's going to find an anteater, not a human.
Okay. Like it's just a meaningless thing to say.
It means nothing. I could be talking to a desk chair.
Yeah,
like you're going to find someone who's a great match.
You're
for you.
right.
Yeah, find another chair.
You're making a good point. It's not a compliment.
No, it could be seen as a diss. It's actually a passive aggressive insult because you're saying is like, yeah, don't worry, you'll find someone who's just the right match for you. So, I got a colonoscopy.
You did, Andy.
And you know what? I liked it.
You did like your colonoscopy a little more than I think you were supposed to. But how did you find your, I can do this, gastroenterologist?
I found my gastroenterologist by going to ZocDoc
Yes.
and searching for someone who was not only near me, but had very high reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a gentleman who, by the way, is one of the best doctors I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Who had a 4.95
On ZocDoc.
with like 2,000 reviews.
Unbelievable.
And I'm telling you, ZocDoc knows their no pun intended.
So ZocDoc, in case you've been living under a rock, I think not knowing ZocDoc qualifies for living under a rock. It is your ultimate healthcare hub. So basically, it works as a search engine and you can filter by doctors who are near you, who take your insurance, which is massive. You wouldn't have seen this doctor in your search results had you not already filtered out by health insurance. And from there, you can assess their ratings. Because I think that matters. You know, we look at ratings when we go to a restaurant. Why wouldn't we do that when going to someone who's going to be looking at your colon?
In my colon.
In your colon. And finally, within ZocDoc, so without having to pick up the phone, you can book your appointment through the app or through the website, depending whether you're desktop or I'm a desktop girl. Some people are app people, but you can book the appointment without having to call the doctor's office.
And some of them have appointments available within 24 hours.
24 hours.
And I've done that.
Oh yeah, me too. I've totally done that. So ZocDoc is the free app. I can't believe it's free. It shouldn't be free.
It shouldn't be free.
But it is.
Yeah.
Is the free app that shows you doctors who are patient reviewed, accept your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun.
Go to ZocDoc.com/Shandy and download the ZocDoc app for free.
Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Shandy. ZocDoc.com/Shandy.
So Sharleen, would you say we have a new routine?
Yes, we do.
Do we like this new routine?
I'm obsessed with this new routine.
I love this new routine.
And yeah, so we're talking about the routine of taking AG1, comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition every single morning. This has honestly changed my morning routine.
It's the first thing I do in the morning, every day.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
Same. I do too. It makes that first glass of water you take of the day really delicious. Also, you're taking 75 vitamins, minerals, and other whole food sourced ingredients all in one glass. So you're not just standing in the kitchen like popping pills. So basically with AG1, it comes in this really convenient powder and you mix it with a glass of water first thing in the morning. After you've opened it, you put it in the canister and it lives in the fridge. So this has been staying in our fridge. You can kind of see that it's cold. And we literally each have a glass every single morning. And I am telling you, I'm not just saying this, it makes a difference. I feel the difference. It gives me a little more pep in my step. It almost feels like caffeine, except it's not. Like it wakes you up.
It feels like clean coffee.
Yes. And I'm also going to say it gets things moving.
Yeah, like coffee.
And in addition to all those 75 vitamins and minerals, we are talking an alkaline, nutrient-dense, raw superfood complex, also a digestive enzyme and super mushroom complex. And I was worried that it would taste really mushroomy and that I wouldn't be able to get past that. And it is not a concern. Plus, they have dairy-free probiotics. Everyone knows that probiotics are good for you, for your gut health. How nice to also have that thrown in there on top of everything else. Vegetarian, vegan, paleo, keto. Is that 4 things? Yep. Keto and low carb. It's endless. There's no gluten, no GMOs. It's amazing.
This is a all-inclusive resort for your health.
In a delightful package, frankly. Yeah. Because something like this could taste a hell of a lot worse.
Oh, yeah. I expected it to taste worse. As a matter of fact, when I first tried it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I can't wait to see how bad it tastes.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, I enjoy this too? Mm-hmm. And it's so convenient.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
nutrition for dummies.
So if you want to take ownership of your health, try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D plus 5 free travel packs with your first purchase.
Go to drinkag1.com/Shandy. That's drinkag1.com/Shandy.
Braden in his ITM says that she was so warm 1 minute and cold as ice the next. And this continues. He pours his heart out to a few people, including a very uninterested looking Wells.
He's earning his dough.
And a freshened up Kat now arrives at the bar, seeming all giddy. And Kylie, this made me really like Kylie. She was like, girl, maybe like consider, she didn't say girl. That's too condescending. No. She was like, yeah, I know you're on a high right now and you're really happy, but maybe consider the people around you. Yeah. And Kat's like, what? What's going on? Who's talking about me? What do you mean?
So defensive.
Yeah, really? Like not a good look, defensive. And she's like, we're talking now. It felt very Mean Girls.
Yeah.
It felt very, what's her name? Rachel McAdams and Mean Girls.
That's what I thought.
It's like, girl chat now, let's go. And everyone's just like, okay.
Yeah, like she's the queen bee, like the mean queen bee.
Yes. And I love how Kat and Jess held her to this. They they're like, just consider that Braden's here. They basically have empathy. And Kat, that's not her strong suit, it would seem, because all she can hear is that Braden has been talking about her. So of course now she storms over to Braden and she comes at him hard here.
Unnecessary.
For talking to other people about how he perceives their conversation to have gone. And the gist here is that she doesn't validate his feelings at all and accuses him of being argumentative and confrontational.
Oh.
I was getting narcissism
vibes. This is like a gaslit narcissism.
Yeah, we're not going to say that.
No, I didn't say either word.
No,
it's
you're
a
right.
gaslicism.
It felt like she wasn't capable of seeing this whole scenario through any lens that wasn't serving her or would serve to make her look good. And it was such a bad look, like what choices she made based on that.
Yeah.
Like, and the hypocrisy in what she was saying, calling him confrontational and argumentative. Like as she was like basically yelling it at him.
She did the exact wrong thing.
Yeah.
She should have laid her arms down.
And then he's like, I'm sorry for feeling what I'm feeling. You can't just tell me I'm wrong for feeling what I'm feeling. And she's like, okay, Braden. And she gets up and leaves. And then he's like, what was the point of that conversation?
Yes, she turned him into the bad guy in her mind.
But all she did was turn herself into the bad guy.
Right.
Like, I feel like she could have been defended a little bit earlier, like, okay, I like Tanner better, blah, blah, blah. She'd be like so many other people before her who left their spark for someone else, whatever. But in this, it was just like, wow, it was what'd you call it? Lighting?
No, gaslicism.
Light. Okay. Gaslicism. Braden in his ITM says that just because she can turn it off like a light doesn't mean that he can or should be expected to. I mean, obviously he's right. I cannot picture anyone being Team Cat in this.
No, She did exactly the wrong thing at every turn.
Yes. She was just so unlikable in this. And I kind of was bummed, honestly, because we came to her defense on Zach's season.
Yeah.
Another villain, actually, sort of, somewhat villainy. Yeah. But this is the moment where you're like, oh, that would have been really tough to live with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I didn't think that her stealing Zach and kissing him before Charity's date was that big of a deal. And so, you know, as Brooklyn kept coming after her for that, I was like, I don't know if Kat did that much wrong. But then you see this and you're like, oh, it was really just the catalyst. You know, they were probably already very annoyed at her lack of being able to take responsibility.
Yeah. Well, sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire.
Okay, so now we have Mercedes and Tyler. They claim to have seen a shooting star and to drive that home.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it was the one that they showed.
We now get a little background here. He says he saw Zach's season, thought she was gorgeous, wanted to meet her. She reveals he was her number one on her list. Things like this. I'm back to wondering how well they knew each other. I refuse to believe that it was just, oh, I saw you on the season.
Oh, yeah. There's always a little, I think there's a heavy DMing going on that we don't know about.
Yeah, and to the point where it's like, are you going on Paradise? In that case, I'm going to go on because I really want to meet you. I think it's that explicit.
Oh, yeah. I think they know that they're going to see the person based on their DMs.
Yeah. They see a raccoon, which is seen as another sign.
That's good. I was watching some raccoon videos recently.
Really?
I got very deep down a rabbit hole of raccoons eating grapes.
Oh, is it cute?
Oh, I mean, is it cute?
I found that the raccoon had a very small tail. For some reason, I always imagine a raccoon having a larger tail than that.
Yeah, raccoons I think have decent sized tails.
I don't know what
But
I'm
I never
talking
think
about.
of a raccoon tail. I think of a raccoon paw and face. When I think of raccoons.
So Tyler asks what she wished for on that shooting star and reveals that his wish was a kiss. Oh.
Family Feud answer.
Oh. Andy, you said these people don't know how to create real romance. It's just all superficiality. That was even more romance than usual. Like, at least he made the effort.
Yeah.
But I agree. It felt so canned.
It's how many kisses on this show are you like, ooh.
Not this one.
Well, almost not any. I mean, some kisses are good, but the first kiss is always so formulaic. Not to discredit them, but I think there's some pressure on the show to get that kiss. It's like winning, getting a Mario flag when you jump on the flag.
Yeah.
When you finish it.
Yeah.
A level.
Something like that.
Yeah, that was
pretty
good.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what it is. I mean, you jump on the flag.
I never really aced that.
Aced that. I literally never get anywhere further than the very base of the flag.
You're just like,
boop. Yeah. Like, I don't even make it to the flag. They just give it to me. They're like, okay, we'll give you the bottom of the flag.
All right. So Mercedes and Tyler return hand in hand and talk about how Mercedes' white Band-Aid matches his white pants. That's people point that out when they arrive back on the beach.
I mean, this is the conversation we all been waiting for.
I want to hear more about the women on Golden Bachelor. God. And Will is looking pretty forlorn, so Mercedes asks to speak with him. This conversation felt pretty pointless. Like, I felt like Mercedes came off looking pretty good. She said she just needs to marinate on things pretty much. And he's like, he's like, I'm sad. I don't know. What was the point of this conversation?
I'm not sure. I never understand really what the function of, like, I wanted to check in and see how you're doing.
To her credit, she did not pull a Kat. She did not get defensive or anything. She was just like, okay, well, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm feeling. It just sort of felt, though, that she was maybe buying herself time, but it was still the right call.
Yeah, she did the right thing.
Yes.
And she was sweet. She meant well. She didn't know,
Mercedes is sweet.
It's hard to do this.
Yeah.
She tried her best.
But it still felt like painful because I really had a moment with them.
Yeah.
Well, you really had a moment with them last week.
Yeah.
You were into it.
I was into it. I felt like this had legs.
Yeah, and how quickly it just vanished. Okay, so we're back to Sam's bowels. Again, she reveals everything to Aaron S., and she's mortified in doing so, but he handles this so well.
Yeah.
Isn't it so nice when someone just exceeds your expectations?
Yeah, he really steps up.
It turns out that he deals with this a lot for his job as a firefighter and paramedic.
What kind of fire is he? He's like, Aaron, we got a 4-alarm fire on Main and Broad. What do we do? He's like, okay, grab some Dulcolax and as many prunes as you can get your hands on.
Yeah, he takes it upon himself to rescue her, brings her platters of specific foods like beans, and they toast to making shit happen and leads her in some actual exercises. I thought this was really cute. I know that it's like a silly thing, but
it was cute. He was really caring for her.
Yeah, as a woman in that situation, you're like, ugh. I'm sure she wouldn't have even told him, except she needed to give a little context as to why she might be gone in the morning. There was a sentence, though, that would be hilarious taken out of context. He says, I can't wait to see her 10 pounds lighter.
Oh, yeah. It's not a great look.
All right, so this episode wraps with her in bed rubbing her stomach. And Andy, you said, is she trying to push it down? You were sort of laughing at this. And then I had to remind you that many times when Andy was backed out, he was trying to push it down too. How quickly we forget.
Thanks for reminding them. It's very important.
You were physically, you even had like a path that you were taking.
I was reading, I saw a diagram. I saw a video. I actually watched a YouTube video of what direction you go and how to push it down.
So she was doing it right.
She was doing it right.
Isn't it sad that that's our cliffhanger?
That's it. It's poo, baby, harder than a stone.
Oh.
She's probably going home. I started too low.
That's the problem.
Yeah, it's the only problem.
Harder than a stone. All right, so that brings us, Andy, to our credits. This was the highlight of the whole episode for me. It's Brayden, AB, Aaron, S, and Jess sitting next to each other, and they give him a beat, and Jess gives the topic of hope. And Brayden appears to freestyle.
If he was freestyling, this was very impressive.
Is it possible that he was freestyling?
It's very possible if it's Brayden.
Andy, you said if that was indeed freestyling, then he should be doing this with his career. Like this is his thing.
Yeah, that was nuts. I have to assume that at least a big chunk of that was like he had that from something else or something. Like maybe he has freestyles that he like throws a thing in that sort of fits with anything.
Yeah.
Like in the middle, it could have fit with anything.
Not necessarily hope.
Yeah, it could have been anything. It's like those improv shows where they say something, but then they pretty much do the thing they were going to do anyway. And they like throw a little bit of the thing in.
Yeah.
But everything else felt bespoke. It felt like he was freestyling.
I was amazed by this.
It was very impressive.
Yeah. All right, Andy, that brings us to your A game. Who wins?
I'm going to give it to Brayden.
Okay.
In defeat.
Oh, he handled it so well.
He couldn't have handled it better.
And he really held his own too. I liked how when Kat was really coming at him, he wasn't like, oh, okay. And he also wasn't retaliatory. You can tell he's a lover. Brayden is not a hater.
Nope.
He just wants to get along. You know, she made such a scene and just made herself look like it was not a good look. It was one of those classic moments where it's like, well, you just made it easier for him to lose you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when she got up and left, it's like, okay, well, at least you've taken away some of the pain of having lost you.
You could see it in his face. He brightened up. He was like, oh, okay.
Maybe
that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, maybe I'm not so upset about losing her after all.
But he never got defensive. Mm-hmm. He just laid out his case. He was emotive. He was honest.
Yep.
With his feelings. He wasn't demanding of anything.
Very mature for 24.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, Andy, who would we go for?
Easy, Jess.
Okay. I respect that.
Yeah.
I feel like Jess has been, so you've been hovering around Jess, but this is the week where it's like, obviously Jess.
Oh yeah.
I respect that. Jess is the one I would want to be friends with on this season. She's so likable. She even every eyebrow raise, it's the right reaction to things.
She's really come into her own on this show. I didn't feel like I really knew her. There's a lot of kind of crying and she was I think she was really shy on her season. Mm-hmm. And now she's kind of more relaxed and we're just getting to see the real Jess and I'm into it.
Okay, so it makes sense that I would go for Blake Moynes yet again.
We're going to have some trouble here.
He doesn't. No, I would actually think there's no trouble.
No, you're right, actually. It works perfectly.
Yeah, we haven't really seen a ton from him, but every time he says anything, actually there was a moment where he was sort of narrating what was happening between Tyler and Mercedes. And in his ITM, he was just like, well, yeah. And like, Tyler's so hot. Like if he goes for Mercedes, blah, blah, blah. Like the way he said it was completely sincere. And him saying that about another guy being just so hot. Like it's a real concern for him.
Yeah, it was endearing. It was funny.
Yeah. Big fan of both of them.
We could pull an avatar with the two of them. Like I could avatar Blake and you could avatar
Wait,
Jess.
is that weird?